activity 3-1 in your workbook, and we're going to go through this introduction to aggregate demand. Aggregate demand shows the relationship between price level or inflation and real GDP. And you know that real GDP is consumption plus investment plus government spending plus net exports. There are three reasons why aggregate demand is downward sloping. And I want you to write these three things in your workbook. So the first reason is what we call the interest rate effect. When the price level goes up, that causes interest rates to rise because banks need to keep up with inflation. So that causes consumers and businesses to borrow less money to buy things because it's more expensive to borrow money. The wealth effect says that when the price level goes up, the value of money that you have in banks, investments is now less. So that's the second reason that AD is downward sloping. And the third reason refers to what we call the net export effect. When the price level goes up in the United States, our goods are more expensive to buy, so people are going to buy less domestic goods that are produced here in the US, and they're going to purchase more foreign goods. So we're going to go through some different scenarios in a chart here in a minute, but you can see aggregate demand can shift either to the right, it can shift to the left, or it can stay right here and not shift at all. So I've already filled in this chart for you. So I want you to go ahead and fill in the answers as I go through this. So the first one, A, says that consumers respond to high levels of debt by reducing their purchase of durable goods. And I've written over here that durable goods refer to things like appliances or cars. So this term or phrase, durable good, is a common vocabulary term that's used in economics. So if that were to happen, it's going to definitely affect consumption. Consumption's going to fall, and AD would shift to the left or go to AD2. B, reduced business confidence leads to a reduction in investment spending. So businesses are not investing in new equipment, buildings, etc. So that's definitely going to affect I. It's going to fall, and again, we would move to AD2. C, government spending increases with no increase in taxes. That would affect government spending. Government spending is going to increase, and AD would move to the right. A survey shows consumer confidence jumps. So consumers are feeling good about the economy. That's going to affect consumption. It's going to increase, and it'll go to AD1. If the stock market collapses and investors lose billions of dollars, that's going to affect both investment as well as consumption. Businesses invest part of their profits just as consumers would. So AD is going to definitely fall, and it's going to move to AD2. F, productivity rises for the fourth straight year. This is not going to affect aggregate demand. It would affect aggregate supply, and we'll get to that in a few lessons. New tariffs are taxes on imported goods, lead to a trade war that reduces exports by more than it reduces imports. Definitely going to affect net exports. Exports are going to fall, and AD would move to AD2. Next thing we're going to look at here, if we scroll down, is investment demand. So investment demand looks at investment spending by businesses on things like new buildings, machinery, plants, and equipment. So as interest rates go up, investment spending is going to fall. So I've drawn that relationship on this graph. And then question 6 asks, what factors could cause a firm to invest either more or less at any given level of an interest rate? So what could cause the investment demand curve to either go to the right, to shift, or to fall going to the left? And the answer to that would be a change in anything that's going to affect either the marginal cost or the marginal benefit of that investment spending. So for an example, a change in the expected profitability of that investment. If there's a project out there that is viewed as something that's going to increase profitability, then investment spending would shift to the right. And then the opposite, anything that would be viewed as something that would decrease profitability